It's a story from 2023, April 19th, the awakening of Ana Kasparian. But more has happened since then. Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks, who is a progressive, has posted this, independent and unaligned, September 30th. The result, of course, is Cenk Uygur being pressured to fire Ana. He says, for extreme leftists, or whoever you are, and whatever you'd like to call yourself, who would like me to fire Ana Kasparian for being open-minded instead of agreeing with you 100% of the time, as you demand, here's my answer. No, F off. Bravo, Cenk Uygur, sir. You know, Cenk Uygur's an interesting guy. I used to have a lot of respect for him. My respect for him went down, and I'll tell you why. Because I saw him at Politicon, 7 years ago or something. He had run on his channel a smear of Dave Rubin. Whatever. They used fake news to justify their smear of Dave Rubin, for which their thumbnail had my name in the middle of their fake smear piece. It was like this bunch of red lines connecting people and stuff and conspiracies. And so I saw Cenk because I know him and have known him for years. And the last time I talked to him, we were very friendly. And I was like, hey, Cenk, you posted this video thing or whatever, and it's got my name. I've been trying to reach out to you and just say, I don't know what your beef is with Dave Rubin, but I just really don't want to be involved. And he just blew up at me and started yelling at me. He's yelling at me in the middle of Politicon. BBC runs up, they're filming, and I was like, why are you yelling at me? And he's like, you're a MAGA guy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's nuts. Because this was 2017. I had not endorsed Donald Trump. I was speaking out mostly against him, critical of him, just not lying, I guess. And so then my respect for him went down quite a bit.
All right, here we are on Tim Pool's podcast. And as you can see, he has an article up about the awakening of Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks. That article is from 2023. And then he mentioned her most recent article of about a week ago where she officially announced that she's leaving the left. And you just heard a little anecdote about Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. And apparently Tim Pool's got a bit of a beef with Cenk, or has lost respect for him. Let's see how this goes.
But in the past couple of years, he's been coming around, and largely Ana Kasparian has been coming around. She has this post. She says, after Trump came onto the political scene, and especially after he was elected in 2016, the us versus them mentality immediately took shape. Anyone who refused to resist Trump was seen as a threat to the country, and I was fully on board with that mindset. It all felt righteous at first, but eventually the tactics deployed to fight Trump became repetitive, boring, and ultimately fruitless. Polling shows that he has increased his support among Black and Latino voters despite wall-to-wall coverage on his unsavory, racist, and bigoted remarks. I'm going to pause there and say, which ones? Because I'm not familiar with those. Several years of media raising alarm over Trump's threat to democracy has only resulted in a tight presidential race between himself and Kamala Harris. I can't help but acknowledge that the only thing that was accomplished by resisting Trump was less understanding and more division among Americans. I personally became reluctant to challenge my side or engage with voters who disagreed with me. In turn, I became less knowledgeable about the people and world around me. I saw Republican voters as an evil monolith, and that was a big mistake. My evolution started in 2022 when I was sexually assaulted by a homeless man in my neighborhood as I was walking my dog. That horrible experience alone didn't change me politically, but the treatment I received from the far left and some progressives after sharing my story did. I was told that by publicly sharing what had happened to me, I was stigmatizing my unhoused neighbors. Others accused me of feeding into racist tropes because they assumed that my attacker was Black. But I never even disclosed the man's race. He was white. Not only did I suddenly see the flawed thinking of some of the left, I also witnessed their cruelty and hypocrisy in real time. These terrible traits that I had associated solely with my political opponents were obviously not exclusive to their tribe. I was stupid for ever thinking that was the case. That doesn't mean everyone on the left thinks or behaves in the way this small group of lunatics do, far from it. But it does mean that there are factions and flaws on both sides of the aisle, and no one has a monopoly on truth. But I got to tell you, Ana, that reality has a right-wing bias.
Ooh, nice point from Tim Pool there. I agree 100%. Reality absolutely has a right-wing bias, as they say. Sexism, what do they say? In the end, reality always comes through. So, reality is sexist. Reality is racist. Reality is misogynist. Reality is xenophobic. Reality is all these things. And it's the progressives. It's basically the leftists. It's a leftist mind virus, which seems to think that we can overcome what it considers flaws in our humanity, when actually these aren't flaws at all. They're instincts and traditions that have been built up over hundreds and hundreds, thousands of generations. You know, ancient wisdom encoded in ourselves. There's a reason that that our ancestors of not that long ago held these beliefs and followed them. These traditions had a sense. So for leftists today, don't believe what leftists tell you today. Leftists today will tell you to ignore what your ancestors tell you. No, you should do the opposite. Ignore the leftists, ignore the woke-tards, ignore the liberals, all that stuff, and embrace reality.
At least right now. Then there was the insane reaction to one of my tweets in March 23. And I'll tell you why it has a bias. Because Ana Kasparian's a progressive, and when she tweets this, the left loses their mind. She says, "I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates." How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this ish.
Yeah, I gotta interrupt there again. Excuse me. Yeah, Ana Kasparian and the Young Turks were all about this for years. They were they've been promoting the trans ideology for years. And really, they have, if Ana Kasparian has changed her mind, then she should say so publicly, and she should do a lot of apologizing.
All hell broke loose after I posted those words. Most friends in left-wing media didn't bother reaching out privately to discuss their disagreement with my personal preference. Instead, many self-described socialists took it upon themselves to profit from conflict by publicly attacking me with monetized videos. Hey, Young Turks, remember when you did this to me? I'd like to give a shout out to the Young Turks when I ran a segment talking about how scientific articles have come out showing conservatives tend to be more attractive than liberals.
Wow, I haven't seen those articles. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I have a couple of comments on that, but that'll be for another video.
I then talked about privilege and why the left was actually correct about privilege, and this proves it. And the Young Turks, I think it was actually Anna, said, "Well, Tim's ugly. Look at his face. He's not much of a looker." Thanks for monetizing fake outrage. But I can say this with respect. You're coming around, okay? Look, I don't make videos saying, "Can you believe what Ana Kasparian said? What a moron." The video I make is, "Wow, Ana Kasparian, seeing the light, understanding what's going on," and I respect it. The title of this video is not going to be "Tim Pool's mad at Ana Kasparian because she's ugly" or something dumb like that. I'm only making this video because she's telling the truth. She's having a realization, and that's good news for everybody. You don't see me making videos every other day about Sam Cedar. The dude's got a hard-on for me, and he won't stop. But I got to hand it to him. When he puts out a video and gets 500,000 views, at least my name gets more search engine optimization, whatever. These people are obsessed with insane nonsense. This is exactly what I've been talking about, why I can't stand the left. Bro, you want higher taxes? Okay. You want to tax the rich? Sure. You want more access for abortions? Okay. Make your arguments. I'll listen, and we can discuss it, and we can be friends. Because I got a lot of friends on the right, Christians, conservatives, and they say, "Tim, one day you'll see the light, one day you come around." But we're working together to live together, to be friends to the best of our abilities. The left? Nah. People that I knew for a long time just put up fake news every day so they can make money off the conflict, as Anna points out. So how's that, huh? A smaller leftist YouTube show put out 5 separate videos skewering me about the tweet, while conveniently erasing the advocacy I had done on behalf of the trans community throughout my career. They even went as far as drawing a link between my tweet and trans suicides, which sadly wasn't the most unhinged outcome of the debate. TYT's volunteer YouTube chat moderators quit over the tweet, and some even reported me to Human Resources. An on-air trans contributor even resigned from the company after being urged by online mobs and leftist shows to do so. Curious that not one of those shows hired her after she took their advice. I never apologized for the tweet, and I never will. That whole experience forced me to come to terms with the intolerance of the left and allowed me to publicly reject the ideological shackles that kept my world small and less informed.
Yeah, the intolerance of the left. They are absolutely the most intolerant people of all. And, they claim that conservatives are traditionalists. I consider myself more traditionalist. I believe in tradition. There's a reason we have traditions. Conservatism, I believe, is completely failed political ideology. It hasn't conserved a damn thing. As we can see here, it didn't even conserve the women's restroom. So that's why I don't like the term conservative, but that's a little aside. yeah, leftist intolerance is just astonishing and breathtaking. And it shouldn't be tolerated. You know, they have a mind virus. They can go create their utopia somewhere else and fuck that up, as far as I'm concerned. Pardon my French.
I'm going to say this. With all due respect, I don't believe Anna was completely blind to this. I think it was just that when it was weaponized against her, she got upset about it. That's my personal opinion. With all due respect, I am actually a fan of many of the things Anna has been pointing out. I'm glad she is speaking out about this. It's great. I'm a fan that Cenk, I respect it, is saying she's allowed to say what she wants. But I am not a fan of how they, Young Turks in the past, have lied about me and many others, okay? They've slowed down on it. Maybe they've realized it's a bad course of action. The videos they put out about me where they were lying got blasted with dislikes, and the comments were like, you are liars and you're disgusting. And maybe they started to realize we're on the wrong side of this. Yeah. She says, today I'm less certain and more curious than I was 4 years ago.
Okay, that's enough of Anna's confessions. So yeah, let me know what you think about Tim Pool. He seems to be being quite reasonable here. He's not going off on Anna or Cenk that much. He's handling it pretty equitably, if that's the correct term here. He's right. You know, if they talk shit about him, if they made hit videos on him, he could easily do the same back, but he's not. And I kind of feel the same way. But it's just I do share a bit of his suspicion, or that, yeah, it was all fine for all those years she was doing it to other people, but now that it's happening to her, or has happened to her more and more, yeah, she's just done with the left. So we'll see. Time will tell. Anyway, let me know what you think. Think if Tim Pool was being fair or reasonable there. And yeah, like and subscribe really helps me grow the channel and continue making content for you.